Let's just sit for a moment. And we'll just do 3 ohms. So breathing in. So I wanted to do this talk today about living a spiritual life. And the reason why I wanted to talk about living a spiritual life is because I felt that I've reached this time in my life where I am able to see the patterns of what a spiritual life kind of brings, and I don't feel like I am so much like just the person who is just experiencing that process. I feel like now I'm more like the observer of the process. So it's very difficult when you're in and amongst something. It's very difficult to have any kind of perspective on what is a process. You know, it's like once you've raised one child, right? you know what you're in for. You know, and it's very similar. It's what does it mean to live a spiritual life, and why would you do that? You know, I want to be really clear that, you know, as I'm talking about living a spiritual life, I'm not going to take it from any particular spiritual slant here, right? I'm not particularly going to be talking as a Buddhist either, even though I am, because I really feel that living a spiritual life and being a spiritual person is beyond any kind of category of, you know, what you practice and what system you practice and who is your teacher and all that. It is beyond. This is more general. You know, I feel like a lot of people talk about spiritual experiences, but I think it's rare to really hear about you know, what it means to live a spiritual life. You know, people will talk about their spiritual experiences, but it's difficult to get a kind of a sense of what would be 20 years of that. You know, if you were to look back and you've done it for 20 years of anything, you know, any career for, you know, you could say that you have some perspective and you have something to offer to say about it, you know. And so that's why I'm talking. It just felt right to do it now. And it may not feel right in 6 months' time. So I felt like now's the time. And, you know, whoever's here is whoever's meant to be here, you know. So I wanted to start off by saying, you know, like, I'm not here to offer any advice at all. You know, and my experience and the experiences of any spiritual person by no way sets any kind of, how do you say, guideline as to what a spiritual life should be. But it is very, it's very useful to hear about people's experience. Welcome.
So sorry.
No, Yanni, hello. Good.
Hi everyone.
You look well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You look well.
Thank you. So I was just saying that you know, I'm not here to offer any advice, and you know, you should, you know, what anyone's experiences should not dictate how you should live your life. You know, how you should shape your spiritual life. You know, I think the only message I feel that kind of is a theme throughout, you know, trying to or endeavouring to live a spiritual life is that you've got to find what's right for you. It really just comes down to that. You know, there isn't any right way. You know, and so that's my. That's where I begin by saying, I'm not here to offer any advice. And, you know, my life is by no means, you know, a good example of what a spiritual life is. But it's an example, right? It's just an example of what it could be, you know, or what it might be. So I kind of put in the blurb here, you know, the challenges and privileges. As with all things, you know, any choices that you make in life, there are going to be advantages and disadvantages. You know, there's going to be good things and there's going to be challenges, you know, sacrifices. But I thought where I should start is to talk about, just to give you a little kind of timeline on, you know, what I've put here 22 years of, you know, what did my 22 years consist of, you know. So, when I left home, I was 18 years old, and the first thing I did was I went to dance class, and then I went to yoga class. They were the first two things I wanted to do so badly, you know, because my parents weren't really supportive of those things. So I did those two things the very first day. And I started growing my hair. And for me, those two things were very much what kind of led me to a spiritual life, right? I was very attracted by anyone who was practicing any kind of spiritual thing. I didn't care what it was. I had my dance teacher was Jewish. I would go along and I'd celebrate Sabbath with her, you know, and we would do the ritual thing, and it was just, I loved it, you know. I would go and sing with the Hare Krishnas in the streets. I would go and, you know, hang out with the Raja Yogis. I would go and, who else? The Taoism. I did everything. I wanted to do everything. It was really important to me to dabble as much as I could, to really explore, you know, every aspect of spirituality I could, you know, from the paranormal to, you know, psychic whatever, to new age whatever, crystals, you know, I did everything, and I'm really happy that I did, you know, because I feel like those things have enriched my experiences, you know, in those formative years. And then I came across meditation, and something really gelled for me, something really pulled me into that. So meditation was important, and yoga, you know, was important to me, and dancing was they were my things. And I think I kind of, I hung out with the Hare Krishnas for a year or two, and then I kind of really did a bit of the yoga stuff, you know, with different schools for a little while as well. And then I kind of, I think my first step into Buddhism was through Zen Buddhism. And so there I kind of studied meditation and started to practice meditation through the guidance of the Zen masters. So I did that for a year or two, and then I found Tibetan Buddhism, and I used to attend the centre in Newtown, if anyone knows it, the Vajrayana Institute, and went to a lot of teachings there. And then I also was very much a part of the FWBO, which is Friends of Western Buddhist Order, and I used to do a lot of retreats because I loved retreats. I loved this process of taking myself away from the normal, ordinary world and kind of just giving myself the space to really explore who I am. So I was very open to that. I really loved that process. So I did a lot of retreats.